Robinhood did not buy WonderFi for its brand or its 300,000 customers. The $250 million CAD deal closed on June 1 only because Canada's investment regulator, CIRO, approved the purchase of WonderFi subsidiary Coinsquare Capital Markets on May 20. That approval was the final gate. Without it, Robinhood had no path into Canada's regulated digital asset market. This is the part most coverage missed. WonderFi is not simply a crypto exchange. It holds operating licenses for BitBuy, Coinsquare, and Bitcoin.ca, three separately regulated entities inside one company. Building that regulatory standing from scratch would have taken years and an uncertain outcome. Buying WonderFi bought the licenses. The deal's extended closing timeline, originally expected in late 2025, extended to June 2026, was not administrative delay. It reflected the integration of Robinhood's proprietary technology with WonderFi's Canadian compliance infrastructure before the switch was flipped. CIRO approval is now the most valuable thing inside the WonderFi acquisition, and the buried assumption in that fact is significant. It means Robinhood's Canadian competitors cannot be disrupted overnight by a foreign entrant without regulatory standing. The same CIRO framework that slowed Robinhood's entry is the same framework protecting Wealthsimple and Questrade right now. What changed on June 1 is that this protection is no longer theoretical. A well-capitalized U.S. entrant just proved the gate is crossable, for a price.
Robinhood launched in Canada with a 0.5% fee on Canadian dollar crypto trades. Wealthsimple charges 2% for clients with less than $100,000 in assets trading under $1,000. That is a 4-to-1 fee ratio on the exact customer segment both companies are competing for: younger, mobile-first investors making their first crypto trades. The consensus reading of Wealthsimple's position is that its $73 billion in assets under administration across crypto, stocks, savings, and tax makes it a durable platform. The fee on crypto trades is a single line item in a broader product bundle. That reading requires a specific hidden assumption: that customers who entered Wealthsimple through its crypto offering will stay when a lower-cost alternative appears directly in the same mobile interface. Robinhood's app will be available to Canadians through the BitBuy and Coinsquare user base immediately. Here is the assumption that has to hold for Wealthsimple's position to be stable. Crypto customers who generated 2% fee revenue are not the same cohort that Robinhood's 0.5% rate is targeting. If they are the same cohort, the fee gap is not a pricing detail. It is a structural revenue event. Robinhood stock fell 3.8% on the day the deal closed and remains down 21.3% year-to-date, which signals that U.S. investors are not pricing in a near-term Canadian revenue contribution. But the Canadian competitive read is distinct from the HOOD valuation question. The relevant frame for Canadian fintech sector weighting is not whether Robinhood earns money in Canada quickly. It is whether Canadian incumbents can sustain 2% on the same transaction type when a CIRO-regulated alternative is charging 0.5%. Questrade has noted publicly that it plans to enter the crypto space at some point. That plan now arrives in a market where the fee floor has moved.
Robinhood acquired 300,000 funded Canadian customers through WonderFi. That number pushed Robinhood's total funded customers outside the United States past 1 million. At launch, the Canadian offering is crypto, roughly 50 digital assets, plus staking services coming shortly after. That matches the pattern of Robinhood's UK entry, where crypto served as the opening product before the broader suite followed. Robinhood SVP Johan Kerbrat stated the company's long-term ambition explicitly: bring the entire Robinhood to Canada. Event contracts, prediction market trades, where Robinhood recorded a record $8.8 billion in Q1 2026, are a core revenue driver that has not yet been introduced in Canada. The checkpoint to watch is not whether Robinhood launches stocks and ETFs in Canada this year. The question is whether the 300,000 WonderFi customers begin migrating to the Robinhood app at meaningful rates over the next 2 quarters. WonderFi disclosed that BitBuy and Coinsquare generated combined revenue of $49.8 million in 2025. That number gives a baseline. If Robinhood converts its customer base and adds staking and event contracts, the revenue trajectory diverges sharply from the 2025 baseline, and the competitive pressure on Wealthsimple's crypto-originated customer cohort intensifies on a shorter timeline than the consensus currently prices. The signal to monitor is the migration rate from WonderFi's existing platforms to the Robinhood app. Robinhood said existing customers will be invited over the coming weeks to trade directly on Robinhood. How many accept that invitation and how quickly determines whether this entry stays in the crypto lane or begins pulling at Wealthsimples' broader soft-directed investor base. Canada's crypto market generated roughly $263 million in 2025. One estimate projects that number crosses $1 billion by 2033. Robinhood entered this market on the opening side of that growth window, with regulatory infrastructure already in place, and a fee structure that makes the existing 2% industry standard look like a legacy pricing decision. Every day after the close, we publish a market wrap and key issue analysis. Subscribe to the channel.